Hello and welcome to Hearts Standard post-match briefing after Hearts fell to a 4-1 defeat to Celtic in what was a comprehensive win for the visitors, and the game was all but over after 3 minutes, or was it 22 minutes?
Probably 22, but I mean, certainly conceding after 3 minutes doesn't make life easy for you, does it? I think that kind of knocked the stuff out of the team a wee bit. The early goal, obviously, then the next kind of 10-15 minutes didn't go too badly, actually. I thought, there were a few decent wee moments in the game where I thought, Lowry was getting on the ball and he was finding passes. Vargas was, getting in behind a couple of times. There were a couple of moments you thought, oh, okay, Joe, okay, we go down, but it's not the end of the world. And then a really cheap second goal to give away, quite soft. And then after that, it's a very, very big ask to get back into it.
Yeah, I think two words you used there. I think perfectly describe the performance and the nature of the goals coming up. Cheap. I think the 3 words to describe it was cheap, easy, and soft.
Yeah.
It was the way, like I said, it was far too easy for Celtic to play through. Yes, that's the thing. Like Celtic played really well; they were on it, and it was probably one of their best domestic games of the season. However, at times their decision was made so easy for them in terms of, you've seen it with the second goal, especially when Matt O'Reilly was just over on the right hand side all by himself.
Yeah.
With the freedom of the right hand side of the pitch, and it was Cochrane went to press. I think it was Hatate in the middle of the park, and then Newhoff came in, and then O'Reilly was there on his own. It was just such a strange situation to be in. And then you go to the third goal, where Civic and Kent both go to Hatate, and Hatate's a quality player, and it just made he produced a lovely touch around the corner to Lewis Palmer, but because they both went, the decision was made for him to go, okay, I can just flick it through the corner, and then Palmer's away, and then scores a goal. So yeah, I think the overarching theme of this Hearts performance, it was cheap goals, soft goals, and really easy goals given away.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's preventable. It's all stuff that's easily preventable as well. I think that, Matt O'Reilly, he's the top scorer in the league at the moment. He's probably the most informed player in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
And, to do it with not even 3 minutes on the clock, just completely switch off and, like Newhoff did, to just let him run beyond. I think that's really poor. It's really simple. It's too easy. Again, don't take anything away from the finish. The finish is sublime, but the whole point is the chance should never exist in the first place. And then again, the team didn't learn their lesson because, like you said, again, for the second goal, O'Reilly is in oceans of space again.
Yeah.
And again, this is a quality player who, is probably the most informed player in the league. He's excellent already. And you're just giving him loads of time and space in the final third, and that's an obvious recipe for disaster. So I think that, those moments at the back were really costly for Hearts, and it did leave them with a mountain to climb back in. A lot of it was self-inflicted. A lot of it was, the second goal started with Newhoff with a back pass to Rolls. It was just nowhere near enough on it. Many different things and gets it. Okay, it goes out, and then it's a throw in and all the rest of it. But still, it should never have happened in the first place. And again, and then, even right at the start of the second half, where Cochrane, where, okay, we can debate, whether or not it should be a penalty or not, and you can look at it and go, it's soft, but at the end of the day, he's given the referee a decision to make there instantly, straight away, as soon as the second half restarted. And again, okay, the penalty doesn't go in, fortunately for Hearts, but again, it's that thing of, they're not giving themselves a chance here. It's that thing of, okay, you think, right, okay, we're 2-0 down, we can, get the next goal, see what happens, and then within 30 seconds you've given away a penalty again. It's just, it's frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, I like on the penalty. I thought I didn't really get a great look at a great view of it at the time, but then watching it back, I thought it was never a penalty. It was you can say smart forward play, but the fact that they reviewed that and thought it was a penalty was teetering on embarrassing. But anyway, referee decisions is not what cost Hearts. Hearts cost Hearts. That was the biggest issue. I want to bring you back to the starting lineup. Yes, it's easy now because we've got the benefit of hindsight. But do you think that lineup, from what we saw there, was naive?
Perhaps, maybe. This is sort of going back to my point I spoke about in the pre-match video of, I'd have liked to have seen Bingham in. Maybe take Lowry out and get that little degree of extra defensive solidity, and anyone watching that game could probably get a goal. You can see why Hearts would want or need that. Obviously, Lowry didn't have a good game himself either, but that's after the fact. You can know that beforehand. But with the system, I don't even know if it would have. I don't know if she did play in a different shape or if you play for another defensive midfielder. I don't know if much changes. I think because you think of the goals and it is in sloppy errors that aren't structural. It's not because of Hearts have got this gaping hole down the right and you need to exploit that. No, it was guys not tracking the runners. Guys, both two players charging down and pressing the same man. It's two guys challenging the ball and not. There were all things like that where it's like. It's not even a structural thing. It's not even as if that area of the park's really weak and that's what it was exposed to individuals.
Yeah, I tend to agree with some of the goals. I would question whether it was structural, but just in the general play, there was times where I just looked a bit disjointed that when going forward and then losing the ball and then just wide open. I think it's a fine line between being brave and kind of naive, and you want to be brave going into a home against Celtic because Hearts fans expect you to try and take the game to them, get in their face, but you need to also give yourself the best chance of getting a result as well. And I think the best chance is to play to build into it and to give yourself a solid platform against the best midfield in the league, one of the best midfields Scottish Premiership has seen in a long time. And I think that's the way you could have Benny with Neuhoff and Devlin, and just say you played with a sitter. That would allow you to kind of look after the zones. We've seen O'Reilly run off of Neuhoff and behind him. He just completely wasn't aware of him there. Whereas if you had maybe someone sitting to protect it, that he kind of sees that and then he kind of shuttles across. But that's the benefit of hindsight in an ideal situation, because you never know how the game unfolds when there's that kind of setup. But yeah, I did think that my preference, and we outlined it in the pre-match looking ahead to it, was to play Neuhoff, Bellingham and Devlin, whether it was 2-1 or 1-2.
No, I think that's definitely part of it, but I think part of it is I should just think it's probably a mentality thing with the players as well, in that there was a degree of caution at times, there was a degree of conservatism. I think there were opportunities where I think a few times where Alex Cochrane did it, where he got the ball in a decent position on the left and ended up just turning back on himself, played it back to the centre half rather than try to get up the wing. And, there's a few times in the midfield that happened as well, where against rather than trying to spring forward, try and you've got Celtic a little bit out of shape here, let's try and see what we can do. It was all just like, we'll keep the ball back to the defender, back to the centre half, and Celtic loved that. That's exactly what they wanted. You could see the way they pressed was really clever, because basically their front three can effectively press 4 players at once. Yeah. They can get another hand from midfield as well. So in that instance, if you're kind of slowly meandering and passing it around the back, that's exactly what they want. Yeah, that's what they got a lot of joy out of that today. We're in the Hearts, we're just passing around the back, just waiting for and then eventually go to Kent or Rose and then to have a big ball to play, and it never worked out. So I think that was a big problem. And to us, that was almost some of the differences you see between the sides as well. You look at Celtic and all their players, they were passing it first time, getting it forward, not taking 2 or 3 touches to take something that only takes 1. Yeah. Whereas I think with Hearts it was a bit laboured. There wasn't that same sense of urgency getting forward. And again, I think there weren't enough people taking risks today. I think there was a lot of people just looking to play the safe ball, the easy ball, making sure you don't give the possession away, make sure you don't upset the crowd. But you need someone taking risks. And to be honest, the only person that I thought was taking risks was Alex Lowry. He was probably also the one guy who probably shouldn't have been, particularly towards the end of the first half, where basically everything he tried just wasn't coming off at all.
Yes, we'll get onto individual performances, positive and negative. And yes, there might be some positives in a second, but the passing, it's the way you watch some of the passing, you just say, actually, the team might actually not be as good. I mean, they're not obviously as good as Celtic, but just looking at some of the decision making with passing was wild. Some of the actual execution of passes was even worse, and that kind of just feeds into it. Move across to individuals. We'll start with the negatives. I thought Lowry as the game went on, he just tried to do more, and the more he tried to do more, the worse he got.
It looked like that wave where I think we said this to you think you maybe said this to me during the game, but it was that wave where he made a mistake and he's like, I need to make up for it. So I'll try something like, even slightly this little bit more audacious in order to try it. And it's like, that's also not going to work. And it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. Then it becomes a sort of vicious circle. So yeah, I mean, Lowry was definitely disappointing in terms of his creativity. Didn't bring it at all. I thought Alex Cochrane very much looked like a player on his return from injury. I think that he was rusty, but again, he's the only left back that's available to him at that point. He's the only guy who can play, so of course he has to play. So again, there's mitigating circumstances with him.
Absolutely.
He is a slight bit of a pass. But I think, to be honest, a big disappointment for me today was Nunoff. He was the main one. Obviously, sloppy for the first 2 goals. Twice, in fact, even at the second goal, he gives the ball away initially, and then he's not pressing properly either. So those 3 in particular, I think, had particularly poor games.
Yeah, Nunoff just didn't seem up to the pace of the game at all, and it was just I just thought it was a yard off the pace, both in and out of possession, and just awareness around of how the game was evolving, how the game was evolving, where people were moving, where was he meant to be. It was just too slow to react to various different situations.
Definitely. I mean, I think we're all surprised, to be honest, when the second half, the team came out for the second half and he was still there. I think we all kind of looked around each other going like, God, how's that happened? And again, I don't want to be too harsh, but again, Beningame came on and didn't do those sort of things. He didn't just give the ball away for no reason, or
so yeah,
was a bit more solid.
That's a role. We'll come on to kind of talking about more positive individuals and looking further ahead and look at some of the fans' comments as well. With that was a big problem. One of the big surprises for me was the half time. We didn't make any changes. I thought there was going to be at least 2 changes to freshen it up, because it just clearly wasn't working. And then Naismith left it until late on to make a double change later on. Benny coming off the bench and Oda coming off the bench. I thought both of them did look okay when they came on. I thought Oda was very lively, whereas Benny brought a wee bit of certainly a bit more class to the midfield.
No, I think that's right. I think there were a few times where, at that point, basically, I think I felt a bit bad because for both those players, when they were on, they're playing a game where the game was probably gone by the time they were involved and getting on. And I thought, I think Beningame, definitely was a few times where he was getting pressed quite hard, managed to keep the ball, move on, find his man. Oda, again, I thought he was really bright today. I thought he looked like an out winger, which has been kind of lacking maybe a little bit recently. He seemed totally comfortable on the ball. Nice balance. He was won a couple of free kicks quite well. I thought he was definitely a bright spark for Hearts.
Vargas. Graham said was as Graham said first the Vargas first half looked their best fit. I thought he was.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Positive.
Yeah, he was definitely getting in behind a few times. He had that shot quite early on from Lowry through the ball down the right, and there's another part quite early on in the second half where he got kind of beyond Carter Vickers down the left. That was in the first half. So yeah, there were definitely a few times where he was getting in behind, stretch that defence, which is how you hurt that Celtic team. So I think he was a bright spark, and particularly playing as a central striker with Shankland playing a little bit deeper in behind him. Obviously, that's something that we've spoken about before, something we thought that might be required in order to get the best back out of Shankland. Yeah. But to be honest, it looks as if it got the best out of Vargas today as well. I mean, his pace, the game really suited someone of his pace who could, move into those little channels out wide and start stretching things. And it did work a few times where, and that final ball wasn't lacking, that was maybe lacking at times. But first half especially, he was asking some really awkward questions and giving Celtic problems.
He was Carter Vickers, someone who's one of the best centre backs in the league. He definitely felt uncomfortable. I think just with his presence and some of his movements he was making. We may as well kind of move on. I want to kind of share some useful people commenting. We've got this is something Rory said was really, really disappointing. We had the whole international break to prepare for that, and then after 3 minutes, when the response to Hibs, and then after 3 minutes, it just knocked, especially against Solskjaer, it knocks the stuffing completely out of you.
No, absolutely. I mean, we spoke beforehand about the fact that if you want to get something like these games, you need to be on it from the first whistle, and you can't just be throwing away silly goals for no reason. You especially can't do it right at the start of the game. I think after speaking to Naismith there afterwards, that would seem to be the thing that really upset him or frustrated him the most, is the fact that it was just a couple of minutes, Hearts are behind, and all of a sudden it's a completely different game you've got.
Yeah, and kind of you look at it and you kind of look ahead. I think it was Graham as well. He said 11 points out of 27 is unacceptable. And you look at the league table now, and Hearts are still fifth, but only won 3 games, lost 4 games, and it kind of feeds into something to what George Echo said. As simple as that, the fans are upset. And it was a weird one, because you were expecting both at half time and full time. I was expecting more of the reaction from the fans in terms of like boos. I don't know. And then you see the empty seats in the Roseburn end for the Hearts fans. The fear is it's bordering on apathy, just because of the start of the season, how poor the performances have been, and now you've got the Ibrox next week, a ground where Hearts have a pretty poor record at, and it's not great at all.
No, it's not. I mean, because we spoke before this game about the fact how, a statement win against either Celtic or Rangers, that can really lift the mood, and it can really give, you can really buy the manager a lot of time, gets a lot of credit in the bank for him. But the reverse of that's true as well, where if you have one of these games and you don't show up and you get comfortably beaten, it's going to have the complete opposite effect. Where, it's going to lead to disillusionment, it's going to lead to anger, it's going to lead to frustration. So, it's perfectly understandable, why the fans are upset. Again, this is a chance to, really lay down a marker and really show how good they can be. And instead, it's a complete opposite. It's a complete, like you say, the team itself to an extent apathetic, and it's just a really poor, underwhelming performance. And like you say, you've got Rangers away coming up, Livingston coming up, there's then the Scottish Cup, League Cup semi-final coming up. Well, there's some big games, and if it's another few bad results in a row, you do wonder where that leaves things. How much pressure until that pressure becomes intolerable.
That's the thing. So apologies, I said they were fifth. Where Hearts said fourth. I thought I said fourth, but that's the big thing. It's the nature of how the fan feeling at the moment is that there's a lot of fan feeling that want Naismith out. They don't rate Naismith. They think it's not worked, and it's going to be the point where if you get beat at Ibrox and then even a Livingston win, but then get beat at then on the back of that get beat at Hampden Park, then it's that constant snowball effect where the kind of negativity, just the Hearts fans want to see their team win. They want to see the team push Celtic and Rangers, not like challenge them, because there's a big gap, but get closer to them, get away from the riff-raff in the Premiership, and kind of get them on in third place. But that's the message that's coming from the club. But the Hearts at the current moment do not look like they are going to be anywhere near doing that.
No, and you're right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, okay, you can say that Celtic Rangers have got more money, they've got better players, fine, but you should still be able to compete, though. It's maybe over the course of 30 league matches, but over the course of 90 minutes, you should. Mm-hmm. You absolutely should. If Kilmarnock can beat Celtic this season, if St Johnstone can get a point off Celtic this season, why can't Hearts? That seems St Johnstone are not a good team, then they can still manage to get a result. So. Yeah, like I said, it's a demoralising one, and it's particularly so. I think just because the manner of it is the fact that for large stages of that game, Hearts weren't competing; they didn't compete, and for large stages of that game, Celtic were in second gear, if that, maybe even third. They were cruising, and that's good. I think that's the frustrations, the fact that at the end of 90 minutes, Hearts barely laid a glove, and that should be the very least. Should be Celtic should know they were in a game. And today they weren't. It was a procession.
I think that was probably the best way to sum up. We go on to Ibrox now. And Graham's made a good point. We've only scored 8 goals in 9 league games again, so you can see, because that's how you wrote about it as well. The defence that you looked at, the defence has been performing well, but still probably overperforming the XG, whereas the attacking wise, they've just never really looked like scoring. And I just wonder if it's a time for, as Rona says, time for boys to be brought back in ahead of this weekend. But again, that's something we'll consider going into the week before the lead up to the game at Ibrox, which is Sunday, not Saturday, as I've thought all today. But yeah, that's coming up. Be sure to check out anything on heartstandard.co.uk. We'll have more reaction from the defeat today. You'll be doing a rewatch of it. Good luck with that. And then we'll have stuff throughout the week, and then building up to Rangers. So be sure to check that out. And thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.